Hi, Amy. Welcome to 10 by 6.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Amy's from the New Internationalist, and she'll explain her role in a moment. But I suspect that a lot of people have heard of the New Internationalist. It's been around for, was it, about 50 years now?
Nearly 50 years, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And it's just a terrific resource for those people who want to know what's really going on in the world as opposed to the corporate media coverage. Just quickly before we move on, though, anybody who's watching for the first time who haven't subscribed to the channel, please click on subscribe and click on the bell next to it to get updates. That's amazing. Right, that's enough of that. Right, on to Amy. So, Amy, tell us about the New Internationalist. I mean, why is it important?
So, New Internationalist was founded, nearly 50 years ago now. It started off as a 3 times a year magazine for members of what was then called Third World First, but is now called People and Planet. So it's like a student-led campaigning organization. And then it became a magazine in its own right, launching in 1973. And we currently publish every other month, and our focus is social and environmental justice stories from around the world with a focus on the global south. So a lot of our articles are written by a network of freelance journalists all over the world, mostly in the global south. And yeah, we specialize in kind of in-depth journalism. Every edition takes what we call a big story and like a main theme. So we kind of take 22 pages of the magazine to cover that subject, and it can be all sorts of things. So kind of over the last year or so, we've done a magazine on Roma people in Europe. We've done prison abolition. What else have we done? Big oil. We sometimes do magazines focused on countries. So we did one on Myanmar not that long ago. And yeah, so it's quite a range of topics that we cover. And the idea is that we go in depth into a theme and then kind of explore it from different angles. So we kind of look at some of the key kind of statistics. We speak to experts. We have reports from all around the world. And yeah, also try and really focus on kind of underreported and unreported stories and movements around the world as well.
And given the nature of the subjects that you cover, I mean, how difficult is it? How challenging is it to get the information? You know, the sources and the general data that we don't see in the corporate media, we don't see elsewhere.
Yeah, it can be very challenging. I mean, we're lucky in that we have been going for so long. We have quite good relationships with people around the world. We do a lot of, like I say, a lot of research as well. So kind of a lot of my job is a lot of when I'm tackling a subject, a lot of reading, a lot of research. Another thing that we do is we always try and make sure that our articles are referenced. So people can go back and look at where we got the information from. We don't generally put big kind of statistics out there or like big claims without saying, oh, this is where we got it from. And that's really important to us, kind of to try and maintain those standards and also to try and make it useful to people, because one of the things our readers tell us is that they often will do something as a result of reading the magazine, whether that be join a protest. We've had people say they've started going into party politics. We've had people joining campaigns, changing the way they shop, all sorts of things. And we kind of want it to be something that provokes action, is not just kind of like, this is all the things that are wrong with the world. We're also trying to look about what are the solutions, what are the ideas that are out there. So yeah, it's challenging, but yeah, we just do a lot of research basically.
Well, one gets the feeling that if half the world read the New Internationalist, the world would be a very different place. Because it's enlightenment, isn't it? I mean, it's what enlightenment should be, as opposed to this 24-hour or 24/7 bombardment with propaganda. What you are doing is representing the planet as it is, certainly the global south as it is, as opposed to how it's been constructed for us.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love it if half the world read New Internationalist. Um, and yeah, I guess one of the things that we also try and do is show, I wouldn't say we don't go down this kind of like false objectivity kind of route, but we do try and show different perspectives as well. So we'll often like kind of cover topics that might maybe there is like division about on the left, or we'll try and like show different sides and let people kind of like make up their own mind, I guess, and kind of try and encourage critical thinking as well, about kind of what's happening in the world, and also kind of like maybe different perspectives on stories that people may have heard about in more mainstream media and kind of bigger media, and think, oh, actually, like these are the people that are behind that movement, and it wasn't just a one-off protest, there was a whole movement, and the movement came out of these other problems, and kind of all the different connections that kind of go on, I guess. What often gets missed is kind of context and history, and that's the kind of thing that we try and provide, really.
Yeah, and when you talk about the left, this is really interesting. From my perspective, and obviously from reading the New Internationalist, my perception by what you mean there is the dispersion of power. The way in which populations actually get to have a say and they
Yeah.
can contribute and participatory, as opposed to the right, where the concentration of the power means that only a very small number of people get to determine how the populations live. Am I sort of right in that, making that judgment?
Yeah, for sure. And kind of like keeping that kind of social justice and environmental justice perspective at the core of what we talk about. So I guess because we're internationalists, we cover things from all around the world, but a lot of international reporting often misses that out, and also the agency of the people who are in the story as well. So it's really important to us to talk about like what people are doing about things where they live, wherever in the world that is. Actually,
Yes,
we also cover kind of community organizing in the UK as well, and other countries in Europe and that kind of thing. So I think like that is really important to us. And I guess also we another thing that's really important to us politically is that we don't kind of um, pin our colours to one particular political party. We're quite pluralist, I guess, in our approach. So even within the team, we all have slightly different politics, but because we're also a cooperative, we also kind of we collaborate a lot. So every kind of main theme, there's a proposal that has to go to everyone else in the team, and everyone else gets a say in kind of what's published, and you kind of have to listen to everyone's opinions, and we have like quite an in-depth editing process as well. So it's quite collaborative, and I think that kind of shows in what we produce.
absolutely, absolutely. A brilliant model, and lying behind what you do is something that we should all be aspiring to. That's fantastic. Just finishing off, Amy, tell us, do you see, I mean, like you say, it's 50 years next year.
Yeah.
Um, how do you see the New Internationalist moving forward?
Yeah, so we've kind of been thinking about this quite a bit recently with the anniversary coming up. And also I mentioned we're a cooperative, in 2017 we kind of went from being a workers co-op to a multi-stakeholder co-op, and we kind of brought a load of our readers on board as reader owners. And in 2021 even more people came on board, and we have like a business plan for the next couple of years. And we've also been talking a lot to our co-owners about what their vision is for New Internationalist. And so I think one of the main things is that we really want to increase our reach. So we want to reach more people across the world, but also, even in the UK, where most of our audience is kind of different people, different age groups, different regions, people who may not have come across New Internationalist before. So that's kind of what we're working on at the moment, is just trying to think about different ways to increase our reach, and build up our subscriber base as well, because that's our most important source of income for the magazine still. And our readers, it prints kind of a bit old school, I guess, but people still seem to want it, and because the magazine is very the photography in the magazine is so strong,
Yes,
it's very beautiful.
fabulous.
So we're trying to increase our reach and build our subscriber base are kind of our two main priorities, and also kind of to try and look ahead to the future and think, okay, so one of the depressing things is a lot of the things that we've been covering for 50 years are still issues. A lot of things have changed, a lot of things have improved. But yeah, there is still a lot happening in the world, and we want to keep being part of the conversation to build it, for building a better world and looking ahead and thinking, okay, well, where are the ideas that are going to change things, and where can we look for that kind of positive change? Because I think that's something that we all need.
Absolutely, and that is a brilliant driver, because it's about empowerment. It's about, you know, increasing circulation, which is obviously what we're all about in the Independent Media Association. And I think you're doing an absolutely wonderful job. And please just keep it going. It's fantastic.
Oh, thank you. That's very nice.
Thank you so much, Amy, for coming on 10 by 6, and speak again soon.
Thank you.